Good morning, everyone. Will DuPree here again in the KXAN live studio. And unfortunately, we have some news to talk about that maybe you don't really want to hear, but we want to share it anyway, especially for me. If you suffer from allergies, this time of year can be pretty brutal. I've been preemptively taking my allergy medication to prepare for the cedar that is in the air at the moment. And so here to talk about all of that is meteorologist Kristen Currie. Kristen, thank you for joining us.
Of course. Good morning. Happy New Year to you.
Happy New Year to you as well. And unfortunately, it's 2020 and we've got to start the year off right and tell you all about what you can expect with the cedar pollen count. So, Kristen, tell us what we can expect.
Yeah, the infamous Cedar Fever. I was telling Will earlier, when I first moved here, everyone warned me about it in the interview. Watch out for the cedar. And luckily, fingers crossed, I don't suffer from any allergies just yet. So I've been doing a lot of research on this recently because I know it's such a big deal here in Central Texas. So basically, Cedar Fever, it's actually ash juniper trees or the mountain cedar trees that give us all that pollen that irritates so many of us here in Central Texas. And there's a reason it's so bad is because there's actually quite a bit of those kind of trees, a high concentration of those ash juniper or mountain cedar trees. And there's a lot that goes into just what kind of season we have when it comes to cedar. I will say, when it comes to this season, it's going to be tricky because we've kind of flip-flopped. We're coming off a really wet spring, and typically that helps those plants really grow, and we see the rapid growth all over, but we dried out significantly in the summer and late fall of last year. Now we're starting to see those cold fronts every once in a while in January, but the problem is they're dry, and all that's going to do is kick up all of that pollen. So there's so many different things in play when it comes to that. The rain is not so helpful in the spring because it allows all those mountain cedar trees to grow, but we need it this time of year because it helps wash out all the pollen that does get kicked up and lofted into the air. So kind of a double-edged sword there.
Yeah, I wanted to pull up real quickly the pollen count that you sent me, if you want to talk about this.
Yeah, so these are the updated pollen numbers we have today. We work with a really great clinic in Georgetown that update us with these numbers every weekday. And as you can see, cedar up to and over 3,500.
That is a nightmare right there.
Crazy. Yeah, as you can see, it's very high. Now, as far as these numbers go, usually anything over 1,000 is considered high. We've seen 3 spikes so far this year, and our Cedar season this year started December 3rd, and it typically runs anywhere from the beginning of December through February. So we're right in the nitty-gritty. We usually see it peak kind of in the second week of January. So only more to come, I'm unfortunately forecasting.
Yeah, this is not the end of it at all. I wanted to say we're looking at the live comments now on Facebook. We have several people that say they are suffering from this. One woman is saying that's why she woke up congested this morning.
Yes.
Another one is saying, I'm dying over here with like the sneezing emoji with a little Kleenex. And somebody else is saying that they appreciated us sharing this information about it. So this weekend, I was reading over the weather blog today, which you all can check out as well on KXAN.com. And it said that there were some gusts that were going to be coming in from the front arriving tomorrow. Why is that an issue?
So, what's interesting is that front's actually expected today, but we'll get those winds tomorrow. You're right on with that. But anything when it comes to, dry weather that we've seen, and we haven't picked up a lot of rainfall.
No, not at all, unfortunately.
We were 5 inches below average for the month of December at the airport. So that certainly is going to hurt us when it comes to these dry cold fronts that come in. We've got not only one today, but another one next week. And basically those cold fronts just act as a wall of wind when they're dry. So once it hits the oscimeter and once it hits that tree, it just kicks everything off of it, all of those pollen grains, and it just gets lofted into the air. Now, what ideally we would like is a cold front that once it comes through, it's going to bring the wind, but the rain would take all of that pollen and drop it to the ground. That's not going to happen with this cold front that we have today. It's just going to bring the wind. There's no rain coming in behind it. We're going to see sunshine tomorrow. So anything and everything that's light enough to fly will do so with those winds tomorrow.
So definitely look out for that tomorrow, for sure.
Yes, absolutely. And again, early next week.
Yes. I want to say, too, if you all have any questions for Kristen or for us here at KXAN, please leave that on Facebook because we are live there at the moment. Even more people are commenting saying that 6 years here. One woman, Debbie, is saying that she's been here and it never had an effect, and then it hit big time this year. I'm dying, she says. That's been the common thread in in the comments there, is that this is really causing a lot of issues.
And that's what I'm worried about too, because everyone said the longer you stay here in Central Texas, the more likely you're gonna somehow get that allergy to the cedar tree. So we'll see what happens. But I also will leave you with this.
Okay.
One little more tidbit. I was reading online that actually those ash juniper trees, the females are the ones that produce the berries and the cones, whereas the males actually give off the airborne pollen. So blame the boys, blame the boy trees for this. That's what gives us all that pollen that causes the itchy eyes, the sneezing, and the runny nose.
There you go, Kristen, bringing us the science and the expert advice behind that at all. So if people want to check out the different pollen levels, that's on our website too. So if you are curious about what today will bring, that's on our website.
Absolutely. We update those every weekday morning. You could just go KXAN.com, and under the weather tab, there's a specific category named allergy. And we'll show you that too, because you can actually see on there not only the cedar count, but anything that registers when it comes to pollen. It'll be up there. We'll give counts, we'll give ranges, if it's low, moderate, high, anything like that. And what's really cool and unique to KXAN is we actually go backwards 30 days too. So you can actually track just what days were bad in comparison to what we're seeing this week, last week. There's that 30-day kind of history of the pollen count for cedar. And again, mold was coming in at low today too.
And if you take a look right there, you can see that giant spike right here on January 2nd, unfortunately. And that, again, it is a very high level here in Central Texas, the cedar pollen level, unfortunately. But good advice to share with everybody at home, because a lot of you are suffering from allergies. I know I am, but I've taken a little bit of a proactive step this time and taking my medicine every single morning, just getting ready, because I've lost my voice twice. And you kind of need that for this job.
It's so awful. I've just heard horrible things about cedar pollen, and I wish I had better news for you. And in the forecast too, I mean, there's no rain expected over the next 6 to 7 days, and that's what would help us out.
Right.
But eventually, the pollen and allergy season's got to come to an end, right? We can't be in this forever.
Yeah, and we're taking like a look right now here on the Austonian camera out there, a gray start to your Thursday, I should say.
And that's all that's left with the rain chances today. So hopefully a few more raindrops left in those clouds, and then we'll call it good.
Now the cedar may be bad, but at least it'll be pretty, right? This weekend? Yeah.
Absolutely. I mean, nice. Really gorgeous weather. That's a really good point. I like that. You know,
gotta be optimistic in 2020, yeah.
Despite the fact that the cedar counts are off the charts, at least we've got good outside weather.
We'll leave that on a positive note then, because Kristen's got to go do our noon newscast here in just about 20 minutes or so. Kristen, anything you're going to be talking about specifically coming up at noon?
You know, we'll talk about what's left of the rainfall that we have today, and then I'm going to show you the weekend forecast, which I said looks absolutely awesome. I've got that new 7-day forecast for you, and then coming up in the 4:30 newscast too, I'll be live talking about the cedar pollen and that cedar fever, kind of crunching a few more numbers before we get there.
Lots of things to share. All right, thank you, Kristen Currie, for joining us. We appreciate it. Happy New Year to you all. Take that allergy medicine, prepare for this weekend ahead, and just be safe out there too. Thank you all for watching here on KXAN Live. We'll be live throughout the day with some other exciting things coming up this afternoon. So until then, we'll see you later, and have a great one.